Welcome to the NFP Podcast, where we explore the empowering world of natural family planning. I'm Amy Smith. Join me and my co-host Emily Appledorn each week. Together, we're here to dive deep into the science, the stories, and the spirituality behind NFP. Every week, we push back against the free love culture and advocate for a culture of responsible love, where intentionality and respect are at the forefront of family planning. Join us as we discuss everything from the practicalities of charting and fertility awareness to the profound impact NFP can have on relationships and communities. Whether you're new to NFP or a seasoned pro, our podcast is your go-to resource for honest conversations, expert insights, and real-life experiences. So grab a friend, settle in, and get ready to be inspired. This is the NFP Podcast. All right, guys, welcome back to the podcast.
Hi, everyone.
So how was Mother's Day, Emily?
Oh, Mother's Day was great. We
Were
celebrated
you driving home yesterday?
Yeah,
Oh, you were in the car. Okay.
Yeah. So we celebrated early because my niece graduated college, and so we were on a trip for that. And it's kind of a funny story. So she graduated from a college in Colorado. So my sister Heather lives in Colorado. I got to see her for just a second.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we were able to cross paths. And it was really funny because I brought up how we had just interviewed Dr. Sadusky.
Oh,
And
right.
yeah, and so she was like, Emily, we were just talking about her. So she and her husband is the camp director at Annunciation Heights in Estes Park. So this is a Catholic camp that hosts young kids camps all the way to family camps. I mean, everything in between. They just offer so many things to wide ranges of ages. And so anyway, she was saying, "Oh my goodness, she's coming. She's coming in
Oh,
like
cool.
this week or next or something."
Oh,
And
cool.
so I was like, "Oh, tell her that
Tell her you
we're
said hi.
sisters and all this stuff." But anyway, we were just referencing the podcast that we just did. So I don't know if this one's coming out before or after hers. So for any of the listeners, be looking for that, or perhaps it will have already aired. But
I
she
know.
has a
I
great new
actually have to do
program.
this just goes to show how amateur I am with podcasting because I'm like, when is that going to come out? I need to we have like a couple now that we've, done. I know today we're doing the catechism. We're starting our
Ah,
catechism study. So I'm like, well, should we do the catechism study and then launch those? I think it's just going to depend on what Dr. Sadusky says regarding the other project. So
oh, sure. No, that makes sense. Yeah.
anyway, yeah. So it might be, so people that are listening might be just like, they seem all
Might be
over the
coming
place.
up.
And we are a
Yeah.
little all over the place. So yeah,
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know
I
when
want to
it's
hear
going to
about
be.
your Mother's Day, but I also want to put in a little plug for maybe we can add this to the show notes. So at Annunciation Heights, they not only like young people camps, all camps of all ages, but the family camp in particular. So Josh and I and the kids are going at the end of June.
Oh,
And
fun.
so we've done this before. They have many options for family camp, and I can't recommend it enough. It's so well done. It's like a 3-day thing. So it's not like a long thing. You can camp, you can rent a cabin, you could stay somewhere else like an Airbnb, but it's just really meant to like unite the family, no matter what ages you have. So it could range and just different outdoor activities, but then also like Eucharistic adoration with your family and daily mass, all the things. So anyway, I just want to put out a plug for that. If anyone's thinking about that, you can still register for that. So,
Oh,
yeah.
cool. Yeah, I'll put it in the show notes.
Okay.
Because I love family camp. We've done that a couple
Yeah,
times now with the
yeah,
kids.
yeah. I remember that. Okay, yeah. Tell me about your Mother's Day.
Oh, it was so much fun. I had
You're
a really
really
great day
good at
yesterday.
Mother's Day, by the way.
I had a
You are
really good
really
day
good at
yesterday.
it.
Well, we were going to go
Yeah.
camping because we did that
Yes,
last
I
year, and I
remember
wanted that
that.
to be an annual tradition.
Yes.
But Max had his last like soccer game tournament thing
Yeah.
on Saturday, and then his team was having like a pool party at night, and he really wanted to go to that. And you could tell he was
Oh,
kind of torn. I'm like, well, we don't have to go camping. Like, we can go another time. There's a
right.
campsite near us that we wanted to go try. So we'll go another time this summer. It's okay.
Yeah.
So we didn't go camping, but we did like kind of the camping things. So on Friday, I took the boys fishing, which was a lot of fun.
Fun.
Was it Friday or Saturday? Saturday morning, I took the boys fishing. Then
Is
we went and
Moses with
watched.
you for this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just put
Yeah.
him in the carrier.
Yeah.
And that's just such a gift of having just one baby and nursing just one baby. I'm like, I still can't get over that. I'm like,
As opposed to twins.
man, two baby, yeah, the twins. I'm just like, man, this is just it makes doing these things a lot easier with other kids.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we went fishing and then what else did we do on Saturday? I think we did much else on Saturday. And then but Sunday on Mother's Day. So yesterday went to mass in the morning. The boys got me roses, which was really
Ooh,
pretty.
so pretty.
I love flowers. So they got me flowers and we went to mass, came home. We made everybody breakfast. And then the boys and I went for a long bike ride, which was really fun.
Fun.
And then came home and we had lunch and then we watched a family movie. We watched Stuart Little. I love that
That
movie.
one is so cute.
It's so
I
cute.
like it. The kids like it. That's just an
I
enjoyable
know.
one for everybody.
It really is. It's so
Yeah.
sweet. So we watched Stuart Little and then we went back out and went for a hike and then went and got pizza. And you know the chain Blaze pizza? It's like the
I
make your
don't.
own.
Mm-mm.
Okay, it's like a Chipotle but for pizza. So you just go down the line and you make your own
Oh,
pizza.
nice.
And I really like Blaze because they've got a really good gluten-free crust. It's like,
Nice.
really thin. Anyway, it's really good. But
Yeah.
they do this deal where you can do like half a pizza and like half a salad. So
Oh,
that's what
nice.
I'd like to do. So I go
Yeah.
there because I don't eat pizza very often, but I'm like, they've got a really good
Yeah.
gluten-free crust. So we went there and we had pizza afterwards and then came home, kind of played a board game. It didn't go over that great because the twins still just want to like
Because life.
do
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we kind of played a board game and then put the kids to bed and Joey and I had time together and we watched
That's
a
sweet.
show. Yeah, it was just like really nice. It was really fun. And it was really fun because the kids just like didn't tell me no all day because they're like, well, I said, well, it's Mother's Day. And they're like,
Oh,
okay. And I was like, oh, great. So it was really fun. Yeah, we had
that's
a really
really
nice.
cute. Really
Yeah,
cute.
I definitely want to go camping next year though. I was like, soccer or no soccer, I want to keep up our camping tradition because um, we've just been thinking a lot this week, Joey and I both about like just our time is so lit, we just don't have a lot of time with the kids. And like they're just
Mhm.
gonna be Joey
Mhm.
especially is like, I'm just feeling like time is slipping a little bit, because
Mhm.
we've been traveling a
Mhm.
bunch and he's been working this different job for the next couple of weeks. He's almost done. But he's like, he's just used to having more time during the day with like to go do
Sure.
stuff with Max randomly or whatever. And so not having that, he's like, I feel like this summer he's pretty busy. Max is going to be doing a lot of camps. He's going away to the family camp that we go to normally. He's
Fun.
going away there for time by himself, their boys' camp. Yeah. And then he'll come back, he'll do sports camps. It's just like, and then the twins are getting older and they want to go out each individually with dad, like Max does. And
Mm.
it's like, oh, I don't know, feeling like
Pulled a lot of
pulled
ways.
in a good way. Yeah, in a good way, but like the demand of our just having kids that you want to be intentional with and like that you enjoy spending time with and doing things with. It's a blessing. It's also a challenge of like how do you
Totally.
juggle everything.
Yeah,
So,
like the balance of it. Yeah. It's
you know,
hard. It's hard. Yeah.
it is, yeah, when you want to be, I want to do these things or even now like Moses is sleeping. His like routine for sleep is going great, Emily.
That's
And we're getting
amazing.
to the point now where okay, we got to like he's not just like literally sleeping all the time. Like his wake periods are a lot longer now.
Yep.
And so it's more of a okay, here's a morning nap. Here's an afternoon nap. Here's a
That's
later
good.
afternoon nap.
Yeah.
And now it's bedtime.
Yep.
But if we're going, and if he doesn't get a good sleep during the day, I've noticed this just in this past week. Now he's in the spot where if he's not getting good chunks of nap during the day, his night sleep isn't that great,
Yep.
which means
For sure.
my night sleep's not that great. So I'm like,
Right.
okay, we need to be home a little bit more for these intentional times. So over this next year, I'm curious, Joey and I are going to have to kind of finagle stuff like getting him and now just putting him in the car seat to drive someone to one activity and drop him off and get him back home. It's like it's actually it's really interruptive to him. So how
It's
much is
really
everyone
hard for a baby.
sacrificing? Yeah, it's like
Really
how much is
hard.
everyone going to sacrifice to do these different things? So
Yep.
anyhow,
I know exactly what
stuff
you're
you have
saying
to
about.
navigate. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, okay. So on that note, let's start with the catechism. I thought about this morning at the gym, Emily. I was like,
Mhm.
I'm going to say something that is going to sound like heresy, especially to if we have Protestant listeners. They're probably going to never listen to us again. And that is, I think I like reading the catechism a little bit more than the Bible.
I definitely know what you mean when you say that.
Okay.
So
And
yeah.
I don't think that that's a bad thing. Personally, I just know I'm like, oh man, if I said that, I'm sure some people would be like, the Bible? Like, but that's God's living word. It is. And I love the Bible too. And I read the Bible too.
Right.
But there's just something, Joey and I both just love the
Hmm.
catechism. I just love
Hmm.
the catechism,
Yeah.
Emily. It's so rich. It's just, and it's full of scripture and it's full of, you know, like in this section. So I have my catechism. I got a new catechism for Easter. It's from the Ascension edition of the catechism.
It's kind of
It's the
blurry
one,
right there. Hold on,
oh,
lift it
is it
up
blurry?
again.
Okay. Sorry.
So
Is it
ascension, it's not focusing. It's
Oh, it's
fine, but
blurring.
just
Okay. It's from
describe.
the Ascension edit. It's from Ascension Press, so I'll link it in
Yeah,
the show notes. It's the one that Father, what's his name? He does Catechism in the Year and Bible in the
Mike
Year.
Schmitz. Yeah.
Father Mike
Mhm.
Schmitz, thank you. Yeah, Father Mike Schmitz uses this one when he goes through the Catechism in the Year.
Yeah.
And I'll link to his Catechism in the Year sections for the ones that we go over today, the ones that are relevant to what we read. So if anyone wants to listen to that too, he does a great job. They're really great too. But anyway, I love it because it's the way it's laid out is really pretty and gives you a lot of the sources that they get all this, church teaching from. So it's
Nice.
not just scripture, right? Holy scripture, New and Old Testament, but there's the ecumenical councils, pontifical documents, canon law, the liturgy, and then saint writings. It's just like, I think
Wow.
that's why I love it. It's just so rich with resources and stuff.
Hmm.
So, anyhow, we'll get started today. I'm just going to read from my catechism. Do you have your catechism too,
Yeah.
Emily?
What number are you
Okay.
on? Yeah.
Okay. So we are going to be in part two. So it's the celebration of the Christian mystery, how we worship the sacraments, and start in paragraph 1601. I'm going to start reading, and then Emily, we can just take turns like we've done before in the past. This is our
Yes.
first time reading something though with the video. Normally, we haven't done it
That's
with our
true. We've
with
only
video. We
done it with
just do
our
it.
voices. That's true.
Yeah. So if you have your catechism, again, follow along 1601. If you don't have a catechism, then I'll link to the catechism online so you can just click and pull it up. It's also free online. You don't have to have a hard copy. Okay, 1601. The matrimonial covenant by which a man and woman establish between themselves a partnership of the whole of life is by its nature ordered towards the good of the spouses and the procreation and education of offspring. This covenant between baptized persons has been raised by Christ, the Lord, to the dignity of a sacrament.
Section 1, Marriage in God's Plan. Sacred scripture begins with the creation of man and woman in the image and likeness of God and concludes with a vision of the wedding feast of the Lamb. Scripture speaks throughout of marriage and its mystery, its institution and the meaning God has given it, its origin and its end, its various realizations throughout the history of salvation, the difficulties arising from sin and its renewal in the Lord in the new covenant of Christ and the church.
Marriage in the order of creation. The intimate community of life and love, which constitutes the married state, has been established by the Creator and endowed by Him with its own proper laws. God Himself is the author of marriage. The vocation to marriage is written in the very nature of man and woman as they came from the hand of the Creator. Marriage is not a purely human institution. Despite the many variations it may have undergone through the centuries in different cultures, social structures, and spiritual attitudes. These differences should not cause us to forget its common and permanent characteristics. Although the dignity of this institution is not transparent everywhere with the same clarity, some sense of the greatness of the matrimonial union exists in all of cultures. The well being of the individual person and of both human and Christian society is closely bound up with the healthy state of conjugal and family life.
God, who created man out of love, also calls him to love, the fundamental and innate vocation of every human being. For man is created in the image and likeness of God, who is himself love. Since God created him man and woman, their mutual love becomes an image of the absolute and unfailing love with which God loves man. It is good, very good, in the Creator's eyes. And this love, which God blesses, is intended to be fruitful and to be realized in the common work of watching over creation. And God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it.
Holy Scripture affirms that man and woman were created for one another. It is not good that the man should be alone. The woman, flesh of his flesh, his equal, his nearest in all things, is given to him by God as a helpmate. She thus represents God from whom comes our help. Therefore, a man leaves his father and his mother and cleaves to his wife, and they become one flesh. The Lord himself shows that this signifies an unbreakable union of their two lives by recalling what the plan of the Creator had been in the beginning. So they are no longer two, but one flesh.
Marriage under the regime of sin. Every man experiences evil around him and within himself. This experience makes itself felt in the relationships between man and woman. Their union has always been threatened by discord, a spirit of domination, infidelity, jealousy, and conflicts that can escalate into hatred and separation. This disorder can manifest itself more or less acutely and can be more or less overcome according to the circumstances of cultures, eras, and individuals, but it does seem to have a universal character.
According to faith, the disorder we notice so painfully does not stem from the nature of man and woman, nor from the nature of their relations, but from sin. As a break with God, the first sin had for its consequence the rupture of the original communion between man and woman. Their relations were distorted by mutual recriminations. Their mutual attraction, the Creator's own gift, changed into a relationship of domination and lust, and the beautiful vocation of man and woman to be fruitful, multiply, and subdue the earth was burdened by the pain of childbirth and the toil of work.
Nevertheless, the order of creation persists, though seriously disturbed. To heal the wounds of sin, man and woman need the help of the grace that God, in his infinite mercy, never refuses them. Without his help, man and woman cannot achieve the union of their lives for which God created them in the beginning.
Okay, let's stop there, Emily, because I feel like that was already a good amount, and I
Yeah,
had some thoughts. So, do you want to
great.
start or do you want me to?
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, definitely recommend listening to Father Mike Schmitz. Obviously, I know they read it. He reads the same thing. He read the same thing that we just read, but his commentary is really really great. Um, and and as we were reading this, this is the same thing that popped out at me earlier when I was listening to him this morning. Is this line on in paragraph 1606 when it talks about the reign of sin? It says their union has always been threatened by discord, a spirit of domination, infidelity, jealousy, and conflicts that can escalate into hatred and separation. It I liked this part because it reminded me a little bit of what I love about the screw tape letters,
Ah,
which is he gives words to an experience I've had. Like, oh, I've had discord, the spirit of
mm-hmm.
domination, this temptation to infidelity, this temptation to jealousy, different conflicts that can escalate quickly and
Mm-hmm.
hatred and resentment and wanting to be separate from my spouse. Like I've experienced all those in my marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's like someone, right, is putting words to this experience to say, it almost it makes me more aware of it to say like, oh, I need to interrupt that. And then the next sentence, this disorder can manifest itself more or less acutely and can be more or less overcome according to the circumstances of cultures, eras, individuals. So cultures, right? We need to have a culture where we can feel this disorder and recognize it for what it is, which is disorder. The dangerous part is when culture takes disorder and tries to normalize it.
Right.
That is where then we get confused. And although at the same time, our conscience is still kind of saying something's wrong here, something's wrong here, something's wrong here. But the culture's saying, oh no, this is totally fine. This is the way things should be. Whereas we know internally we have this restlessness because we're only at peace, right? Our heart is only at peace and not restless when we're with God. It can't be at peace when we're in a state of disorder. So I feel like it's just really helpful for me I feel like if we get caught up, and Joey and I are caught up in one of these things, it's like, boom, like we need to just to have the grace to recognize it, to say, oh no,
Right.
wait, this is not how it was intended to be. Is this a, outside force, right? Satan, evil spirit, whatever it is, fallen nature, etc. We do need to still recognize for whatever it is, it's not as it should be. And we need to interrupt that. What do you think?
Right. No, I totally agree. And I mean, I've experienced this all the time, like so frequently. And I feel like the second you take it to confession, like once you realize what's happening, so you have the grace to realize, and then it's like, oh, and then that can be kind of heavy sometimes. Like, how do I overcome this? Like, I know that this is happening, but I don't know how to fight this, obviously charity, that kind of thing. But um you take it to confession and it for me, I think I would say, I don't want to say any of this is ever easy to overcome, but that allows you, I just feel like the lens is even clearer after that, right? Like you have the realization of that it's happening, which I think is a total grace. Then you take it to confession, and then it's like, I feel like the grace from confession gives you the strength to recognize it even faster or perhaps hit it off at the start, right? Like, ooh, this is what's happened before. I'm not even going to go there again, right? So I just feel like there's so much grace in the sacrament of confession that can help build up the armor to fight stuff like this. The more you recognize it, the more it can be attacked. Like you can attack this, out of your marriage kind of thing.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. I just went to confession. I was just going to say
Mhm.
that. Yes. Because then you come out of it and it helps clear the veil. It's
Yeah.
like that veil is
Yeah.
lifted
Yes.
and you can see more clearly like, oh, this is the trap I keep getting into. Or, oh, you see the landmine and you avoid it. And it's like,
Yes.
oh, I don't need to make that comment. I don't need to say
Right.
this thing, say this thing, or I need to let this go. Or I'm recognizing a, spirit of jealousy. Like, how can I cultivate gratitude for
Right.
this thing in this moment? Yeah, I agree. I think confession is a great way to combat this.
And I feel like because of that grace in that sacrament, you're less inclined to even, perhaps there were things that you might just like jab at each other, like you say things and it's going to rub them the wrong way, like, but the more I feel like that if there's that desire, like that goes away. That's not even because I feel like you have more charity for them. Like God loves them way more than you do, And so it's just like, and I also think you have to think about everyone, the husband and the wife, their intentions, right? Like most of the time, neither one of you is like doing something specifically on purpose. I mean, I'm saying this in the other side of my mouth. Like I'm over here saying like maybe you do kind of want to like jab at them. But the majority of the time, like that's not happening. I mean, if you're really, willing the good of your spouse, like you're not trying to you're not provoking, right? It's just like your kids. Like obviously that happens sometimes where it's just like we push too much. Like and when you're doing it, like I should stop. But I feel like that just gets less and less um, of a feeling of desire to do that, even in those moments, the more that veil is lifted. That's really what I'm trying to say.
Well, and I think that to me is the miracle of God, is
Mm.
that when we can start to see the desire change.
Yes. Oh my
As
goodness.
human
Yes.
beings, we can make behavior choices, we can change things, but the real beauty is like one where we can do the act even if we don't feel like it and even if we don't desire it because we have will, we have an intellect, we have this ability to make a right choice regardless of our feelings and our desires. But what's really amazing is when we find ourselves desiring the good. That to me,
Right.
Emily, I always find to be the miracle of
Yes.
like,
It's a
oh my
miracle.
gosh, I'm actually desiring this
Right.
good thing. That is
Right.
amazing to me.
And
Amazing.
to
This is actually,
recognize that, right? Like, and
yeah,
then to realize, wow, there's been a change in me. Like,
yeah.
that's
Praise God. Yeah,
Oh, it's really just to sit with that with God is like, wow,
yeah.
you really did this. Like you really
And I
like,
think,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just an
Go ahead.
answer to prayers, right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
I remember I was in confession once and I said something about, desiring virtue and my fault and he said, gosh, wouldn't this world be better if we all desired virtue more?
Mm.
Almost like to affirm like that's a good thing. Like
Right.
that's not a weird thing. And that's what God desires for me. That's what he
Hmm.
reminded me of is like God desires your holiness.
Right.
God desires this for you. Like his desire is that you be rightly ordered. Like he doesn't
Right.
that's what he wants. And it was just it was like it felt, that almost like God is my cheerleader. Like he's on my
Right.
side. He wants this good for me and not to believe otherwise because I think sometimes I do believe otherwise. I think,
Right.
oh, I'm just out here kind of doing this of my own strength. And it's like, no,
It's
we
human.
read in scripture, we know God's goodness and we know what he wants for us, especially me, like reflecting on my role as a wife and mother, like he knows what he's made me to be and I want to be more and more like that, and he's going
Right.
to give me opportunities to do that. And it's going to feel hard because I am fallen too,
Right.
which
He's
actually
he's a
doesn't, okay.
healer. Oh no,
He's a
I did
healer.
I was
Yeah.
trying to wait till you were no, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, you're right. Yeah. He's a healer. Yeah.
He's a
Go ahead.
healer. And like I talk so much about physical healing, like with like he desires healing for all of us, right? Like
Mhm.
whatever kind that is. And so much of the time I'm referring to physical healing when I'm talking to couples, for example. Like he desires your health. And but obviously in all dimensions, right? Like we're talking about this spiritually. Like he desires us, just like you said, to be growing in virtue, just to continue to be molded, right? Like, what would we be doing if we're still the same person? I can't even, I'm so grateful to God for the grace and mercy He has given me. I can't even imagine if I was still, I can't, that's another topic, but He desires that. I mean, so we want to ask him for that, I guess, is ultimately, we want to ask him for the virtues that we need to grow in perfection and perseverance in our vocations.
Mm-hmm. I thought about that yesterday with Mother's Day at Mass and just throughout our day. Like, Lord, you have given me four beautiful children. I'm so grateful for this. This is the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. And I think I fail at it all daily, all the time. And that you're still calling me to this. Like, you made me for this. This is such an honor and a privilege and a blessing. And yeah, I just felt very aware of that yesterday too, that this is a huge gift.
So surreal
It's
to be
it's
in
hard,
mass.
yeah. Right. Yeah. But it's such a gift. And the same thing, like, wow, but by God's grace, where would I be,
Right.
apart from him working in my
Mm-hmm.
heart, which is amazing and continuing to work in my heart,
Mm-hmm.
not being
Yeah.
done yet. So which leads me to the 1607. So I was talking to a family member, paragraph 1607, which is the next paragraph after what I just read. And I was talking to somebody, a Protestant, about the worldview, like how the Catholic Church views the human person. And um I've heard this with amongst Christians when it comes to parenting, like are your children are they good gone bad, or is there like what is the nature of the human person, I guess,
Mm.
basically. And in this first sentence in 1607 it says, according to faith the disorder we notice, which is what we just talked about in the paragraph before, so painfully does not stem from the nature of man and woman. And when I read that, Emily, I interpret that to say, and it says, nor from the nature of their relations. So my nature as man and woman was not this disorder and this discord. My nature is as a child, as a human being made in the image and likeness of God. My nature is one of goodness and of
Mm-hmm.
order and of,
Mm-hmm.
of that kind of perfection of who God is. Like, and then but from sin. So it's because of sin now that this nature has been disordered. But it didn't start in a disordered way. Like the
Mm-hmm.
nature originally was a good thing. Does that make sense? Because it felt
Definitely.
like when I shared that,
Definitely.
it almost, and maybe it was misunderstood. I'm assuming that's what it was because I'm not always good at explaining things. But it felt like that when sorry, Moses is looking at me. Um, it felt like when I was explaining this to this Protestant, it, I mean, it almost sounded like I was being like heretical, like saying that my kid's nature is a good nature. No, they are sinners and fallen. And I'm like,
Oh,
yeah, it's
almost
true.
like they need redemption because they're fallen.
Right, right, right. Which I think it was just like I was being
I,
misunderstood because I'm like,
yeah, that
no,
would
like
be my
my,
guess.
yeah, because I'm like, no,
You
yeah,
guys
my
are
kids need
probably saying the
correction.
same thing in
I think so.
essence, but
Right,
not in the same words. I don't know. I
right. I'm
just
like,
can't
no, but
believe that they would think that a baby is, but I mean, as we believe, like baptism,
right.
like, so maybe because I'd be guessing, right? But maybe because they do baptism later, like
Oh,
that doesn't, I don't know. I don't know.
oh, yeah, that's a good point. I don't know.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know. I have to revisit the conversation and kind of get a little more
Hmm.
detail. But this line, I mean, that was exactly that sentence. I'm like, yes, that's what I meant, which is, the nature of of who I am as woman, who my husband is as man is good. Like the disorder
Right.
doesn't come from that, nor from this immediate the nature of this relationship. The nature of a man and woman relationship of marriage is all good. It's all
Right.
good. It's sin that did it. Sin
Right.
is what we're dealing with here, not who we are apart from sin, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, it does. Yes.
And then, of course, we need Jesus Christ because we can't restore ourselves. And so
Right.
through Jesus, we're restored. But anyway, yeah, when I read that sentence, I'm like, oh, I should just hand her the catechism.
That's
Say,
it.
this is exactly what I meant. This sentence right here. Um, anyway, yeah, I love it. I love this. I also love the first little paragraph of 1601 where the church is just so bold. This is actually funny. I remember Joey saying, when he was kind of learning more about the faith, diving deeper into what we believe, why we believe things. And he, almost like like looking in from the outside, he just finds the catechism to be such a bold document, if you will. It's like,
Yeah,
look at this like body, this faith, this belief that's just like putting it all out there. Like, here's what we believe,
that's really true.
period.
Yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah.
And take it or leave it, but this is what we believe. And it's true. I like it. It's not trying to convince or sway. It's just stating very matter of factly and I think beautifully as well. I mean, it's just the way it's written is beautiful too.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I love the boldness of it and the um the educational part of the catechism,
Right.
that you can be learning so much more and it's just so enriching. But especially in 1601, it just says like, here's what marriage is.
Right.
Period.
It allows you to go deeper, right? Like
Right.
that's and the why behind the, you know, I don't know, instruction or like our faith, I guess, really, just the why of our faith. Like this is
Right.
why we believe what we believe.
Hmm.
Obviously the Bible, uh, obviously, I feel like that just isn't understood, but like this just allows you to go deeper, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. Explains a little bit more for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else stand up to you in that first
I don't
part?
think so. Uh-uh.
Okay. I do appreciate too just this statement that marriage in God's plan, that this was God's idea first. It's not ours. And I think that's, some people will say, oh, well, who are you guys to, it is a bold claim, right? The church is saying, yes, we know how God designed things and what is God's plan. Um, but to know that like I am humbly approaching this sacrament, because I feel like God has called me to it. There's obviously a natural order aspect to it. It's just throughout human history, it makes sense for a man and woman to come together to procreate, raise these children, then those children get married, and then they continue this cycle. There's a book I heard about. I have to listen to it again. The author of Hannah's Children. Have you heard about that book, Emily?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's great. An economist wrote it, a Catholic economist. And she interviews well-educated couples, um, focusing on the women in particular. very well-educated women who are raising big families
Oh,
and kind of
wow.
demystifying this idea of, having a lot of children as being a bad thing and something that the educated don't do. Um, but she was being interviewed, the author of Hannah's Children, and she mentioned another book that sounded really great, that I wanted to read. She also said it was a little depressing because it was very numbers heavy on like the population decline and how that's going to be impacting our world,
For sure.
because it's universal right now with the population. We're just not replacing the population at the rate we need to be. But the book was something about like how children are, the primary end of marriage. Like that is why we have marriage, is for children to
Right.
come about. I was like, oh,
Yes.
I really want to read that book. So it's on my summer reading list. I have a couple books I want to be reading, and that's one of them. If I can find it, I'll link it in the show notes along with Hannah's Children. So if people want to
That'd
look
be
it up
great.
too. But
Yeah,
um,
definitely.
yeah, I just think it's pertinent to our podcast too. Like it's for the good. The twofold ends of marriage are ordered towards the good of the spouses and the procreation and education of offspring. And I just want to point out again, and I know Father Kyle mentioned this in our discussion with him on marriage preparation. These are the twofold ends of marriages. And so for priests that are preparing couples, talk about finances, talk about the sacrament, like definitely go into the theology of it. Beautiful, great. And don't forget about the procreation part of it. Because I think Emily, even us talking to Dr. Sadusky, I just feel like
Ugh.
working with these marriage prep couples again, I'm just feeling it's more and more, something that didn't come up in our marriage prep at all is you need to learn this because you are now responsible for teaching your kids. And that's why this is also important, is because it's not just for them to know and practice in their marriage, because they need to do that too, or we need to do that, right, as Christian married couples, but it's so that we can then transmit this information to our children, since we are the primary educators, um, in all areas. So,
Right. We don't want
yeah,
someone else to be teaching them that. Like,
right.
we want to be the first to introduce these things to them.
Right. And when we know more fully, right, this is why I love studying more about marriage and reflecting on this, bringing it into my prayer life. Because then when I'm caught up in, I get caught up in the daily tasks and the to
Yeah.
do and just everything else. It's like coming back to this, though, on a daily basis is a great meditation to remind me,
Hmm.
like, why am I doing all of these daily things? And it helps too, I think, because you and I were talking about this a little bit, Emily, but like sorting through, right, at the beginning of this episode, like sorting through like what needs to get done and what doesn't need to be done.
Hmm.
Having the eternal lens can really help provide wisdom to know, okay, what are we making time for? Or what are we not making time for as a family and in our marriage relationship as well?
Right.
So yeah, like for Joey and I, yeah, like we're not called to just like have these kids and be their chauffeurs. Like we also need to be taking time to go out to nurture our relationship as a couple so that we can then give to these little people too. So,
Right. That's a good point. Chauffeurs.
anyway,
Yeah. My
right.
sister-in-law always called herself an Uber driver because I
Yeah,
mean, that's what you're doing.
yeah, that's how I feel sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, I think that's it for now. Do you have anything else?
No, I think that's
Okay.
great.
Oh, wait, I lied. There's one more thing.
Ah,
Just because it came up when Joey and I were having a meal with a young engaged couple. They're about to be married in a couple
nice.
of weeks.
Yes.
And one of them, I asked, we had to go through some things the priest wanted us to go through with them. And then I said,
Sure.
do you have any specific questions? And the man had a question about holidays, spending holidays with
Oh,
family
that's a
and
good
blah, blah, blah.
question.
Yeah. And I said, well, here's how we approached this. Here's how we approached it when we were engaged. And then the concern was brought up that maybe he had said something about, extended family having expectations of what they do and where they go at holidays. And
Oh,
I just
sure.
gently reminded them that of this passage here at 1605, this reminder that you two are no longer two but one, and you are to leave your mother and your father and be joined together. And so you guys, not out of spite or meanness, like you don't want to deliberately exclude yourself from larger family gatherings. But if you both have discerned or decided that, for your family, you're going to do something a different way, that's okay. And And I just said, like, be prepared over the course of your marriage for your parents, for her parents to be disappointed in your choices, because that's going to happen. And it's really okay. And, depending on your home situation, and I said, I made a joke, but it's true. Like, how passive aggressive people can be, or, how many comments you're going to get and opinions about how you should do things. Like, ultimately, you guys are your unit now. God's brought you together. And so you guys have to be answering these questions for yourselves. And so, yeah, I think it was a good conversation. And he was like, oh yeah, like you're right. Like, we're going to be our own entity. And it's like, yeah, like you're not with mom and dad anymore, And so anyway, that's
There's
maybe we
so
give
many
wrong
things
advice, but I
about
was like,
that.
that's how we approach it. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's so many things about that. And I would say that this will allow them to ideally do things differently with their kids and how they show their kids what's important when it comes to holidays or not. I'm just thinking I reflect a lot on this. My grandma on my dad's side. So my grandparents had a military background. My dad's family was in the military. So they lived all over and they couldn't be at all of these things. And that shaped, and I think you would probably agree, Amy, like that shaped her perspective on family holidays. And like she was so grateful to have anyone that could be there, but she understood if you could not be there. And and that has really shaped, I think about her so often in just how I view quality time with loved ones. And like, we are not owed, this time with our family and that sort of thing. But when we get it, oh, how special that is. I just have chills thinking about it. And so I would hope in a situation like that, like they can model something similar. However, they decide to raise their family, they can model for their kids maybe a different perspective so that their kids, can not feel, I don't know, I want to put words in their mouth, but guilty or, whatever the case may be. And so golly, there's so much wisdom to be learned from rightly ordered perspectives, right? And you just hope that those are in the family. And they're sprinkled in, even if there's so much disorder. I know we were talking about that before like they're there. You just have to find them sometimes.
I think that is a gift that growing up as a military family, and look from the outside looking in, you could say like, oh, well, we don't prioritize family gatherings as much as we should, quote unquote. Like, okay, maybe I would agree to that. Maybe at some point, at some different parts of our family life and our family journey, like my extended, my previous nuclear family, right, with my parents and stuff. But I'll also say too, like I have never felt pressure that I have to be at a certain family gathering, or I'm not going to be loved, or someone's going to be angry at me if we don't go. Never. I have never felt that way. In fact, I remember my mom telling us, like, as we were getting older and having, getting out of the house, it's like, yeah, when you guys go have your own families, like, I don't expect you to be home for Christmas or Thanksgiving. Like, maybe we could get together at New Year's or another time, but like, you have to create your own traditions with your family. If you want to get together with us, great, but I don't have any expectation about it. So I always find it mind blowing. Like, it always catches me off guard when I hear comments of like, oh, well, they owe us Christmas this year because they did Christmas with the other family last year. I'm like, they owe you Christmas? What are you talking about? Maybe some people out there are listening and they live
Oh,
in this world.
this is
It's
such
a
a
real
real
thing.
thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
this is so
yes.
foreign to me. It's so
Hmm.
foreign to me, Emily. I'm like, I just don't, that statement, I just don't get it. So even Joey, we had a conversation recently. He's like, maybe in the last couple of months, and maybe I already brought this up on the podcast, I don't remember, but he was asking me like, so what do you envision for like our future if like when the boys get married and they have kids? Like, because Joey's always thinking about retirement. He's always thinking about like retirement planning and retirement. He's like, so in retirement, Amy, like, where would we live? Like, we'd want to live near the kids or be there for the grandkids. And I'm like, I've never had a dream about a grandchild, Emily. Like, I have
Right.
never dreamt about becoming a grandmother, really, because I'm okay if all my boys become priests. But like, I've never
Right.
dreamt about like becoming a grandmother or being there to like hold my grandbaby. And maybe that'll change when I get to that stage. It could
I'm
very well.
sure.
But like, yeah, I don't have any. I'm like, well, if they need me, I'll go and help for sure. But like, I'm not going to be like, I have to be there at these times or, yeah, or you have to come to me at this holiday. I think because I want my kids to be so strong and independent. I'm more like, I want you to not need me, like in a good way. Does that make sense, Emily?
Oh, for sure. I will say so golly, I don't know how long I mean, I feel like we could
I know
keep
this
talking about
conversation's
this.
taking a turn from the catechism. Anyway, keep going.
Um, but like, so we're daughters, right?
Right.
And I have a brother, and my mom's just natural relationship is different with my brother and his wife because many different reasons. A huge reason is because they live in the same town as her family. So they have a
Mm,
lot of help, which is such a
mm,
blessing. My
it
mom
is.
would
Yeah.
go there in an instant to help them, but um she inadvertently ends up helping me and my sisters more, for example.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I feel like that's a difference between daughters and sons. So like I understand exactly what you're saying as far as um wanting them to be strong and independent, but to bring up like your when you were in school for your masters and stuff,
Oh,
right?
right. And my
And the
mom was with
living
me. Yeah.
situation that you and Joey were in with Max
Right.
as a young kid, like your mom just like, boom, I'm there, right? Like, and
Right.
all of the help. And so I just think daughters need their moms. Like we
Hmm.
need them. And someone was just saying to me, a dear friend, like there's something that she heard about, like it's not until your mom is there, and you would hope you have this relationship with your mom. So I'm not. I realize this is not the case in every situation, but when your mom is there, it's like you can breathe, right? Like, and I personally feel like, okay, where does that come from? Your eyes don't have to be the only eyes on everything, right? You have this other female that's your mom who hopefully you have some trust in. I really, I'm speaking broadly here. Obviously, we all
I know what you
have our
mean.
things.
Yeah, no, no, no. Yeah.
But like you can let down, right? Like,
Right.
and feel relaxed. You're just not on all the time when your mom is there. You hope that to be the case, I guess. I realize there's relationships that aren't like that. But I'm just saying, I think that once to, reiterate what you just said, like, I don't think about grandkids either. And I think it's probably the stage that we're in right now, too. Like, it's the here and now. But, I think there's a different relationship as you get older, the moms and the daughters, perhaps. I'm not saying the daughters need the moms, but there will be more times, I think, in life where a daughter would need her mom than a son would need her mom. And I'm just speaking about the moms, not the
Yeah.
dads too, you know?
That makes sense. Yeah. Which is probably why it hurts when you're in a situation where your mom's not able to help for whatever
Oh
reason,
my
like
goodness,
psychological
yes.
issues or just,
Right.
disorder in the
Yes.
relationship or
Yes.
mental health or physical health issues. It's like, gosh, I could really use my mom right now with this new baby around,
Right.
I could use her to make
Right.
me a meal. So yeah, when you don't have that, it probably stings a little bit more because of what you're talking about.
Well, and when it's not present, right, you just hope that you can change that for your kids.
Right.
Like, okay,
For the
I
next
know.
year. Yeah.
I mean, oh man, I did have some really great examples growing up of how to treat in-laws, and
Mhm.
I never experienced horrible in-law relationships, and
Mhm.
that's intentional. That was such an intentional thing by my grandparents, and I recognized that. That was
Mhm.
never. Anyway, you want to recognize those things, and the things that were good, you hope that you can take that and continue that on in your own family. And the things that are like, you know what, I wish that was different. Okay, I want to change that, right? Like,
Right. Right.
oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's always hope. I mean, that's what
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to do, right? Is like make it a little bit better with each generation, if not a
Mm-hmm.
whole lot better. So being
Right.
aware of those things is a great place to start, which I think that's when having conversations with other people is like can also help you become aware of things that you might want to change in the future. So
Right. Right.
little changes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Well, we will pick up next time on paragraph 1609. And check the show notes for links to things that we mentioned, whether it be books or Father Mike Schmitz and the Catechism in a Year. But I'm really excited we're going through this. And if you haven't listened to Father Kyle, go back and listen to Father Kyle, because we started this with his talk on marriage prep last week. So, all right, Emily.
Okay.
Goodbye, my dear. I'll see you next Monday. Bye,
Okay,
guys.
sounds good. Okay, bye.
Bye.
That wraps up another episode of the NFP Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you found our discussion enlightening and empowering. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear from you. Please connect with us by sending us an email with your questions and stories to thenfpshow@gmail.com. We'll be back next week with more insights, tips, and heartfelt conversations about natural family planning. Until then, love responsibly.